the OED has always included words from across the English-speaking world. Since the dictionary's first edition, the Anglophone population has grown considerably. 1.75 billion people worldwide can speak English to some useful degree, according to British Council estimates. As English speakers, we all share a common vocabulary. That's why it's possible for me to talk to you right now and for you to understand me. But it's also true that there are parts of our vocabulary that are specific to the variety or varieties of English that we speak. And that's largely determined by where we're from, where we live, and the linguistic communities that surround us. As our chief editor says in this quote, for the past few years, we have been undertaking a series of projects to improve our coverage of words and senses from those parts of the world in which English is used most prolifically and distinctively, so as to accurately and authentically document the diversity of English vocabulary.
All varieties of English are combinations of pronunciations, words, grammatical structures that are equally linguistically valid. And people who study language for a living know this, but unfortunately, the myth that some varieties are better than other varieties is deeply, deeply, deeply ingrained in English-speaking societies in particular.
The key thing here is prejudice, right?
Mhm.
It's we can't rule out the place of standard variety, but speakers and everyone of us should understand that the standard variety is just one variety. Yeah, variety of, and that is just privilege. It's just another privilege that one variety has been chosen, right? And to recognize that every variety should be allowed to exist.
Every language variety is worthy. There's none that is better than the other, because of course the whole question of language and society, language and social class, language and status, etc., is a very strong question, and that has influenced people's attitudes to different language varieties.
What I love about working in a
That's right.
dictionary is that I'm surrounded by linguists and lexicographers who are always curious. And that's the ethos that we always try to maintain in the OED. Because truly loving language is appreciating it in all of its diversity, its flexibility, its creativity.
OED, when I discovered that they document varieties or minority varieties or minoritized varieties of English, and it was something I was very excited. I remember one of the initial emails I sent to OE. They said, "This is something I'm so passionate about. I'm ready to give it my time, whether or not there is any kind of benefit going to accrue from that relationship, because it's something I'm passionate about. Because what the OED has been doing or has been doing in a broader perspective now is to give voice to give voice to these varieties of English that are minoritized. And we can see that that is yielding something very, very big.
Because working on world Englishes somehow makes us lexicographers kind of re-examine our processes and policies when it comes to working on different varieties of English, because instead of just looking at a very monolingual sort of language, we're seeing so much more diversity. So we kind of have to re-examine, okay, um, what does constitute good evidence for the OED. So that's why we think it's such a good thing for us to be doing so much more work on different varieties of English.
So what we do now in terms of creating the pronunciation models for the varieties of English, it's a piece of work that that we started in 2016 for in terms of the pronunciation specifically. We said, okay, well, every non-obsolete word that we have in OED has a British and, when revised, an American pronunciation. Let's make sure that the ones which have their origin in other Englishes have a pronunciation to match. So we had 10 World Englishes at first, which has risen to 14 now, with another 2 in the pipeline. Well, I think our way of doing, I mean, you and I particularly, Danica, we're trying to do the thing, or do our little corner of the thing by documenting you, by recording, by codifying, by making the OED something that does reflect these varieties of English in a proper way, and setting them alongside. I mean, earlier when people were talking about the moving away from recording standard English, there's not, it's the power of and, right? Standard English, British English, American English is still very much being recorded and codified, and other varieties of English that have historically not been recorded and codified alongside them are, the intention is to rectify that, and that's how we fight language prejudice.
Like, it matters. It matters to see these words. Like, it is healing for communities to see their language in print in this way. So it's like, yes, we want to challenge prescriptivism. Yes, we want to resist standard language ideologies that say you put something in a dictionary and that makes it real. You put something in the dictionary and that's its meaning forever and it's stable and this was the only way people said it. But when you see what it does for people when they see their language represented in that way, I'll never stop doing it. I'll never stop encouraging people to, everyone who's listening to this right now, like, you're asking how to get involved, think about the words that you use and go type them into those forms. Record your own voice saying them. Spend as much time as you possibly can trying to get your own experience represented in this form, because these people who are here are invested in making sure that they have the richest and fullest representation of the English language. Everybody start talking, start thinking, send it in, because it isn't complete until we have it all, right?
For me, the best way to describe the OED is the story of language. And why would you write a story and leave out, half of the chapters? It really doesn't make sense. And I think also representation. If you open a dictionary and you want information about a word that you're hearing, then you need to be able to find words from all of the many world Englishes, and not just from one or two varieties. Otherwise, it's not a very useful dictionary.